Hi everybody. It is Wednesday afternoon. It's a wellness day at USC, which means that it's sort of our spring break that's been distributed throughout the semester. So I actually have several meetings with students today about sort of work that they're doing and research projects, but there's no classes. And I can kind of feel everybody taking a big breath because at least there's no classes. Everything has slowed down just a little bit for a day, so that's nice. Let's do a chill afternoon stream. It's Signs of the Sojourner. It's interesting to play this game over several weeks and also on stream. Last week when I played this for a couple of hours, it was really stressful for me in a kind of it's difficult to make the decisions that this game kind of requires in a playthrough, especially in I think the first playthrough. But I've also been like sitting with it for a week and thinking a lot about what this story is and how it works, and there's a lot of cool stuff that I think it's doing in its narrative, in its sort of narrative arc, along with the mechanics of it, not just the conversation mechanics, but kind of the narrative structure, the narrative design of the game. So if I remember correctly, I don't remember correctly. So I think this is our third. How do I get to the calendar? This is our third caravan trip, and caravans in Anka. Wait, hold on. This is, as I recall, this is our third caravan trip. That's right. We got two more after this, and we're at the end of it. And that's right. If I'm reading this calendar as I have to be home by day 50, then I have a little bit of time left, but not much. I have checked some things off. I missed that. Caravan is back in Anka. So Caravan went from Pachenko to Anka to Bukumboro to Aldhurst to Ramina to Old Murray to Sende Canals, and then it must circle around to Anka. I see. And meanwhile, I'm still in Old Murray, and I have found out about the Wave Dancer, but I don't know how to get there, I don't think. And in fact, I don't think that there's really any way for me to go, right? Nobody can speak to me in Old Murray. I can't get to Sende. Oh, I see. Go to Sende and then to Anka, and then probably down to Bukumboro is how they go. Hi, Toby. Okay, well, if I just want to go home, which I think is what I want to do, that's going to take me before this old truck hits its limit. Gotcha. But I'll be home by day 47, is that right? Or I'll be home on day 50. Day 4. Okay, so yes. So I have to go home right now. There's no question about it. Let's go home. Your truck can't hold up on trips this long. Time to return home. Did I go home? What? Okay, hold on. So, two things just happened. One is I'm apparently unable to read the calendar. I'm really frustrated by this because the game is not as interested in logistics as I am, but it's a game about travel, and it's also a game about schedules in a kind of a roundabout way. Not in the way that I sort of want it to be, frankly, but it is a game where sort of things happen and stop happening, and you have the passage of time is significant. So, given all of that, the presentation of, in this specific instance, the presentation of the calendar and the presentation of this sort of like day tracker in the top left-hand corner, I find really confusing. I sort of think if it's presenting, you have 50 days, here's a calendar that lays out 5 10-day weeks basically through day 50. As I move through the world, it sort of shows that the end of my trip is day 50. I expect that to mean that, like, I'm gonna make it home at the last moment before I'm required to. The game didn't actually work that way. I don't know why. I guess because it wanted me to be home at the beginning of day 50, which doesn't really make any sense with how that's been presented. No, it doesn't seem like it punished me, and I actually, like, really wouldn't be surprised if this game had punished me for doing that. The fact that it didn't, I think, is nice, and it actually now suggests to me something really unintuitive, which is that it doesn't matter where I am in the world on, day 50, on my last day, that it will teleport me back home with no time having passed. Which actually, like, changes the way that I think about the game a lot. For me, I mean, we're going to see in just a second, I'm about to go out on my 4th caravan trip. I feel like I'm going to invest a lot of time and energy in planning. Like, where am I going to go? How am I going to get around? And I'm going to be sort of really frustrated that the game doesn't want to be really forthcoming with information about, like, how long it's going to take to travel around. Because to me, that seems like it's necessary. It's a necessary part of how this game experience has been framed to me, right? If you're going to give me these kinds of options about where to go, and you're going to give me these kinds of constraints on sort of like when things happen, then it becomes a game about logistics to me, and you can't sort of take that away just by not allowing me to engage with it at what feels like it would be an appropriate level. I think I understand why the game is doing it. It's because the game doesn't care about logistics, right? It's not supposed to be a game about logistics. It's supposed to be a game about storytelling. And really, I'm not choosing a path to travel. I'm not choosing, like, a route. I'm choosing branches in a branching narrative. It's just presenting them to me on a map. I think that there's an odd mix of how much information it gives me and how it presents that in a way that isn't entirely satisfying to me. Okay, I want to just real quick, what are my cards? I've gone hard on purple and blue. And I have 8 fatigue, that's right. These accommodate cards are the only way that I could possibly survive a conversation with anybody in this town. So Elias is... Oh, no. I guess Elias has always been green and orange. He just only speaks in orange. or has only ever spoken to me in Orange. Who is Masha? I mean, here's the thing, is like, do I want to have conversations with these people? And I feel like I don't. I feel like it's going to be bad for me. This is like an interesting part of the tension, because not only do I think if I talk to, well, okay, so let's take Masha, right? Because Elias is different. Elias is so accommodating. In the past, it has been easy to talk to Elias no matter what, even as my vocabulary has changed. But somebody else, somebody like Masha, who I don't remember who she is, but whoever she is, I don't think that I'm going to have a productive conversation with her. I don't have the cards to do it, right? And if I try, what's the worst that could happen? Like, I just fail at this conversation. But then she's going to give me a card, and I'm going to have to take a card from her. And her cards are only going to be oranges and greens. And I don't want that. This is a systemic narrative tension that, to me, feels very reminiscent of, like, I've talked before about Knights of the Old Republic and the way that the light and dark side mechanics in that game are designed to force you down a path, right? To sort of pressure you in a direction and to keep moving in that direction and become more extreme, right? As you start, if you go light side, all of a sudden being even more light side becomes more attractive and is more highly incentivized. And if you get to a point in the game where you all of a sudden want to make a major dark side decision, that's really hard to do. Not just narratively, but because it's going to have such a tremendous negative effect on your stats. That's how I feel now. It's like, I don't even want to talk to these people, because talking to these people is going to make me a worse merchant. It's going to make it harder for me to go back and do my job in the places where I think I can make some profit and bring stuff home. But I also feel like I can't not talk to Elias. So let's talk to Elias. I don't know that they're the common people. I mean, I think you're saying that to be funny. I don't think you're making a specific point, Hubert, with that statement. That we are cool now. Also, we have lost the ability to relate to the common people. But you're right. Like, we have given up the ability to relate with a certain set of people who happen to be personally important to us. And in the framing of the game are the most important people in the world. We've given that up to sort of be able to go beyond them. You search for Elias at all his usual haunts, but when you finally do track him down, you're surprised to find him working behind the counter of his aunt's coffee shop, grinding espresso beans and practicing his foam art. Oh, poor Elias. Does this look like a flower? No. Well, it's still delicious, but it's a failure unless the milk makes a flower shape. Oh man, I hope I just get a lot of accommodate cards and not so much the cards that I got. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I put down. All of it is a disaster. Don't tell me the coffee tastes bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to spill coffee everywhere. I can be such a klutz. Sorry, buddy, I'm just tired. Hey, what's with you today? Maybe you should be getting some rest instead of drinking coffee. Elias looks down into the coffee cup to scrutinize his handiwork. The flower he made is all lopsided and blobby. He tosses the cup and starts again from scratch. I mean, damn. This is so bad. I guess this. But I'm not going to talk to Masha. Like, that seems like a terrible idea. Okay, I got 3 items, which I think is what I needed. I'm gonna hate coming home from the 4th trip and not talking to Elias. That's gonna suck. Elias attempts to listen as you describe the bustle and smells of old Maria's community cast-off, but the steady flow of incoming coffee orders keeps pulling him away. Oh no. That's not good. That seems real bad. Elias comes running up to the store, clearly shaken. He lets out a huge sigh of relief upon seeing you. You're safe. I came running right over. Okay. Oh no, what is that? Distressed and grieving. Oh my god, that was wild. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool because, like, you know, there's no character that I've talked to more than Elias. And I am starting to get a sense of, like, who some of the other characters are, but Elias is the one that I feel like I really get where he's coming from. I can predict what he's going to do. Part of that is because he's very predictable in his play, in like the cards that he has and plays, and it is so accommodating. It tends to be so accommodating. To have him suddenly play a different type of card and a new type of card in this moment, like, because he's distressed, that's really cool. That is a really cool moment. Oh, and was I not paying attention to this? Are we just trying to get to 1? I thought, did distressed take away a black? Because I still have 3 blacks. Town's still standing, but it looks like hell out there. Hopefully nobody got hurt too bad. The store fared better than some other places around Bartow, even if you didn't have too much of value and stocked in there anyway. Well, that's okay. That did nothing. So that... Wait. Or maybe it took away a white or 2. I'm not sure. It seems like the distressed card type maybe acts differently than other card types. It was a victory, so distress counts as a victory, even though it wasn't a match. I said I'd help repair it, but there's no way we have enough building materials to go around, not after seeing outside. Distressed and grieving, and can I play this? Okay, that counts as a loss. There's no time for subtleties, the whole town is in trouble. End your turn and prompt the other person to play 2 cards is a listen. Got it. Uh-oh, though. That's not great. So that count. Okay, so it's not that it plays by different rules, it's just that the game sort of cheated for me when it introduced the card type. I'm not sure. Electric Claire, the way that my cards were changing, I think were predictable. Let's look at it again once we can see the sort of thing. Not when I should be trying to help fix the coffee shop. No, I understand. So, for example, this is the accommodate type, which duplicates both symbols on the previous card, and that's why the distressed symbol appeared there. I think that was true of the other card that I played, which was this type, elaborate, which caused the... I mean, I can't win here. This is my best play, but I can't actually win. That's a shame. Whatever, just come see me if you find some scrap, okay? I mean, that was always going to be a difficult conversation, but I think it wasn't impossible, and so that's sad. Caravan never showed, so you really need to step up. Elias storms out the door, frustrated yet again by your growing inability to communicate with one another. Yeah, listen is a reverse chatter. I think that's really interesting. Huh. Am I going to see a lot of people who are distressed, maybe? I don't know. This is interesting. Okay, so this seems useful because... This seems useful. I'm going to take this card. There's an argument to be made for this card because it doesn't turn the conversation orange. But... this is a listen, which means that it's going to turn the conversation orange for the other person, then they're going to play another card, and yeah, I think that's just the better card. Man. I mean, should I talk to any of these people? I'll talk to Thunder. Thunder's not used to the ground shaking under his paws. He gives a nervous whine and a tentative tail wag as you approach. I mean, this good dog. This good dog. You scratch behind his ear until the shaking stops, and he nuzzles close for comfort. Kubert says the ability of this game to emulate dialogue abstractly and yet accurately is really cool. The experience is resonating with me a lot. I mean, I 100% agree. And this is something that I was trying to say, I think, in the first week that I played. It's weird to me how abstract that is. And maybe it shouldn't be weird to me. But I think what's interesting is how abstract that mechanic is, how well it resonates with the sort of, you know, narrative cipher that it's using, and then how well that is embedded into the game. So it's not just that, you know, this is a game about having abstract conversations in a way that feels like you're having conversations, but then the story of the game sort of it proceeds from that. Like this idea of a character getting frustrated by your inability to communicate with them and having that have sort of consequences in the larger game, I think also works really well with it. So Masha could use a hand. Samuel seems like he's doing okay. I think I'm better off going to another place and trying to get material for Elias. I think. Okay, so I need some scrap. Caravan never showed up. I'm on my own. Why is Anka all scribbled? Yeah, I have nothing to guide me. Where am I gonna get scrap? Like, I don't actually know. I can't go to Hara. I probably, if I talked to the people in Barto, that's how I would get to Hara. I don't want to go to any of these places. Anka I could try. It didn't go great last time. Bukumboro. Am I better off going to Aldhurst? It's going to take me a week. And then going to Ramina, and then going to Old Moray, and see if... I'm worried that I missed my chance to learn about the road to Tsende. But maybe I can find a way to the Wave Dancer. And if I can't, if I get stuck at Old Moray, that means I can't do a loop, and I lose time. So, but it doesn't matter. I mean, Old Moray is my destination. I want to get up here. If that's as far as I can go, and then I have to come back, maybe come back through Bukumboro or through Anka or something. Probably not Anka, but Bukumboro, maybe Clifton. Then that's the best I can do, because I want to get to Old Moray. No. This is going to take me to day 7, or through day 7, I guess. I think I stay in a town for 3 days, maybe? So, this then takes me 3 more days. But if I stay here for... So, this takes me through day 15, but I'm staying in 2 places, that adds another 6 days, so it's through day 21. I guess let's see if that holds up. I'm just trying to understand... I'm trying to understand this interface that doesn't want me to understand the logistics. Movement catches your eye off the road in the distance. These kind of interrupts have always been positive for me. They say not to look too closely at the shapes that run alongside lonely roads, but offer something of yourself and what remains will be stronger. Choose a card to sacrifice. It will be replaced by a copy of another card in your deck. I like this accommodate. It's been pretty good to me so far. Lars is looking pretty rough. Erat is open for business. So, these are new characters, I guess. Although there doesn't appear to be much damage from the recent earthquake, most shops in the plaza are closed. Some locals stand at the street corner, eyeing the tents and makeshift shelters that have gone up as refugees trickle in. So, green and purple. Purple and distressed. Blue and orange. Blue and orange. I had bad times I had a bad time at least talking to Tosuto before. But let's try... Let's try this. No. Let's try this. Salem drives his shovel into the earth and leans upon it as you draw near. He's playing it cool, but anyone can see the sweat glistening on his brow. Because he's nervous to see me, or because he's working hard. Wonderful Aldhurst wasn't hit as hard by recent events as its neighbors, but that's not to say it's gone untouched. Zyvo, I'm plagued by the same thing. I feel bad no matter what, because I can't make friends with everybody. Alright, well... You know, I do have a card that I can play. There we go, that's great. Perfect. That was perfect. Thank you. Unfortunately, this place seems to have become something of a beacon for refugees from the surrounding area. I'm sympathetic to their plight, but it's no excuse to be squatting on public property or causing trouble around town. If they were anything like Erot, it would be a different story. Oh, I don't remember who Erot is. Despite his business acumen, he remains modest, modesty being, of course, chief of virtues. Never thought I'd be singing the praises of a pickle pusher, but really, he's nothing like Tosato. Oh, that's right. He's the competitor to Tosato. I'm in a good position here. Well, whatever the case, desperate times call for desperate measures. This batch of kimchi isn't ready to be buried yet. However, if I don't do something with it soon, one of those squatters is likely to steal it the first moment my back is turned. That's, okay. Just to be clear, I am enjoying the experience of playing this game, even though it is stressful, and I think, Hubert, you're right, it's not a feel-good kind of a game, even though it has sort of very sentimental moments, which is fine. I normally like that in games, and I like that here, so it's not normally. I do generally like that in games, including in this one. I don't like the look of that fellow they call Lars in particular. I'm sure you've seen him standing around. Hard to miss that one. You're starting to get this is becoming ungenerous. I've been thinking it might be time to pick up and move someplace without this sort of riffraff. Okay. You encourage Salem to consider his options if Aldhurst is no longer to his liking. Salem is thinking of moving away. And I got some kimchi. Okay, I have this backtrack. Okay, backtrack seems bad, doesn't it? What's the benefit of backtrack? Remove all cards back to the last valid match. If I've already played cards... Oh, wait, did we... Okay. I think that I figured this out last time, and now I don't remember well enough, and I'm gonna have to experiment with it again, which feels actually really, really bad, because small mistakes in this game can have big consequences, and I'm nervous about it. But I think maybe the point of backtrack is that if I play this and it's not a match, it doesn't count as a failure. Well, whatever. I will take it. Now my question is, do I get rid of one of my 3 accommodates? I've got so many of these. They're really, really good in certain situations, but in other situations they are really bad. I think having 2 of them was a good balance. And I'm probably going to get rid of this card again pretty soon. Alright, now let's talk to... Ah, that's right. That's who Arat is. Now let's talk to Tosto. Yeah. Tostado's expression looks extra puckered. You suspect he's been toughening the present situation out on his own, and if you had to take a guess, his diet is probably not great. I know what you're thinking. Where am I going to get quality pickles at a time like this? Good news, I am still open for business, even in these most trying times. Well, all of these cards are bad. Is there one that's less bad? All of these cards are bad. Hold on, missed a spot. Ah, there we go. See, no detail escapes my notice. I can at least do that. Good, and then I can do this. Okay. But now I'm out of options. See, just as I predicted, Aldous experienced the present calamity only in the mildest of terms. That's why I decided to base my business here in the first place. All very scientific, you see. Interesting. Just between you and me, I'm not exactly thrilled about all the freeloaders who have appeared to sponge off Aldous' good fortune. I mean, I've got nothing to play now. It suddenly occurs to me that I'm getting too old for this. Okay. That was so close. That was so very close. Okay, that still is going to be okay. But now I'm not going to be able to do anything with that card. Damn it. I'm going to lose this. Pity about their homes and whatnot, but that lot is nothing but bad for business. Desperation makes unsavory characters out of all men. Can't be helped, I suppose. If only all visitors could be as industrious and clever as Irat. Oh, do you also like him? Tell you the truth, never thought I'd meet another true disciple of the pickle. It's almost enough to bring a tear of pure joy to my eyes. Man, I remember when I was blue and orange, and talking to this guy was great, and talking to Irat was like, oh no, this is terrible. All things considered, it could easily be worse, much, much worse. I mean, buddy, I can't believe that's what you played. Someday soon, when you're wailing and gnashing your teeth, I hope you look back on this moment. You opt to bid Tostato farewell before all the pickle talk and conspiracy theories start to pucker your brain. As usual, he doesn't disappoint in either the flavor or colorfulness department. Okay, well, I can take a double blue. Am I gonna end up finding... wonder if I'm gonna end up finding that I shouldn't stop in Aldhurst anymore. I should just go straight. That's maybe what I should have done today. Is just go straight to, Murray. Because it would have been faster, and then I could have hit these towns on the way back. Whatever. I don't really want to get rid of this elaborate card. I don't really want to get rid of any of my purples. Especially cards that lead into purple, I think is valuable. So I'm really looking at this elaborate or this backtrack, and the backtrack is risky to me. I don't really understand it. Okay, green and purple, or... Alright, let's do green and purple first. There's at least one stall in the central square that's open for business, and the line is so long you're not even sure what it could be selling. I think it's pickles. Oh shit, is this guy just all greens? And I don't even have an accommodate card. Alright, well that's fun. Wait, you're not a fan of pickles? I was told everyone in this town was. Did I? No, that's green. And then he's double green, and now I have no cards again. You had other options, buddy. You had a lot of other options. It's okay, I guess craft pickles aren't for everyone. Maybe next season I'll look to branch out. What sounds more promising? Healthy soil-based drinks, peanut butter and jelly hamburgers. Peanut butter and jelly hamburgers. You're pretty curious as to how IRAT managed to break into Aldhurst's highly competitive pickle market, but not quite curious enough to sample his wares. Damn it. Damn. And that's gonna really hurt. Oh no, this is purple. Okay. He wears a couple of layers of clothes, clean but stained with old mud at the cuffs and knees. He looks like he's had to choose between what to keep and what to leave behind 2 or 3 times over. I understand that what to keep and what to leave behind. Like, this whole game is about that, right? That's interesting. There's a resonance there. You look new. Did the weather bring you to Aldhurst? I haven't been here long either. I don't have a lot of distress to play with. Sorry. I'm gonna play purple. Back off a little, because then I can play another purple. And then he can play double purples. Great, that's what I was hoping. And then I can play double purples. And then he's distressed. But I can sympathize with his distress. I don't know that I'm going to get to 3. I mean, this is hard. Gray Cambay. Maybe I made the wrong choice. Oh, I got a road. I got a road from Grey Cambay to Tosende Canals. So that's a way to get... Oh no, but I can't get to Grey Cambay. Word of warning, people around here don't like refugees. They act like it's our fault what happened to us. I just want enough room to grow some food. Not gonna bother anyone, but that doesn't stop them bothering me. Oh, thank goodness. Oh. Lovely. I mean, this is gonna... wait, hold on. How does this work? If I play this, he's not gonna have a blue to play, so he'll play something else. That will break this shield, which won't count against me, but I do think it erases everything back to where the shield was, which that's going to be bad for me because I don't have anything that I can play off of Distressed. That said, what else can I do? I could play something now. I could play this blue. And that would give him a purple open, but then let's say that would be the same, and we don't have the shield, and he's either gonna play, you know, a double purple, which would be okay, or a distress, and that would be a failure. That does seem like maybe it's my best option, though. Or even this. This gives me some information at least. Okay. This is gonna be bad next time, and I have now my hand is trash, but I can at least get through 2. A place with weather like this, they'll build luxury homes, hire security, and cultivate a lawn. No room for vagrants. That woman, Aurora, wouldn't let me use the bathroom at in her store. Can you believe that? She assumed I couldn't be a customer. Oh, you're from Bartow. Is the land any good there? How about the people? That matters too. Oh, he had a blue. But it's a blue that goes to pink. I got nothing I can play. You're here to gawk. Is this fun for you? Okay. Ah, fuck. You must play 2 cards. Which would be fine. I just have nothing I can connect. Damn it. That was close. Don't worry about me, just move on. Your comments don't go over well. He's gotten enough of them. So, what is this? This is listen? This listen seems good. And it's a way of getting out of distressed and into blue. Aurora. Okay, it's a new person. Oh, I can't see the map, can I? Okay, that's really, I find that really annoying. I find sort of like, I understand that the game's doesn't want me focused on that, but it's hard because in a big way that is the focus of the game, is like being this caravan and making that work. Uncooperative door to magnetic music is even more stuck than usual today. In fact, it's not opening at all. You try knocking. A moment later, the door cracks open and an annoyed Aurora appears. Sorry, magnetic music is closed for now. Got people I don't trust around the instruments coming into Althurst. Oh, this is where I should have gotten an instrument back when that mattered. Oh, damn. Can't you take a hint? We're closed. I mean, what the heck? What the heck? Oh, I can play this. I see what you're doing, and it should be useful, but it's not. Maybe I shouldn't have talked to her. You aren't one of them, I can tell, but I still need to keep the store locked for safety reasons. The earthquakes didn't touch Aldhurst, so we've become the destination of choice for the less fortunate. Fuck. My instruments are valuable. I can't afford to have anything unfortunate happen to them. can't do anything with that. Yikes. Yeah, Toby. Okay, so Toby in chat says, you've said a few times that the game doesn't want you to focus on logistics, but I don't understand why it doesn't. The logistics seem to be the frame for the whole story. It seems important. Yeah, I think that this relates to... I agree with you. It does seem important. It is the frame for the whole story. I think this relates to the frustration that I have with this game in the way that it structures its storytelling around sort of an assumption that you don't need to know why the choices that you are making matter, right? So there's a couple of ways to think about branching narrative and agency in branching narrative. And one of them is that in a normal story, in a linear story, you start at the beginning and you sort of follow along as things happen. And the things that happen can take really unexpected turns. In fact, it's good when they do. It's good when, new characters are introduced and events happen that are surprising, because that is sort of what creates tension and interest, interestingness, I guess, novelty in the story that you're reading. When you have a branching story and you're doing the narrative design work on a branching story, there are a couple of ways that you can approach it. And one is the player is making choices that cause the narrative flow to branch in different directions. And they're choosing a path, essentially, through the narrative possibility space. And the path that they follow, like a linear story, should have sort of this sense of novelty to it. It should introduce new characters suddenly, and unexpected things should happen. And because that's what a story looks like, right? Like, that is what makes a good, interesting linear story. And the story experience that the player gets out of playing the game is a linear story, right? It is a single iteration, a single it's a single execution of this multiply possible story space. The problem with that, or the way that can be executed, and the way that this is executing that, is that even if the choices that you make matter, they matter because they change the flow of the story, right? And it's not as important that as a player you are making choices towards an objective, because the implicit objective of the game is that it's gonna tell you an interesting story, and there are lots of interesting stories that it could tell you, and therefore every time you play it, it's gonna potentially tell you a different, interesting story. This is how, if you look at early interactive media, if you go back to choose your own adventure books, not gonna pretend that those were created in a sort of academic interest at making the best quality product possible, but they were sort of mass produced. They were and they were written like it. But they were sort of exploring early standards in how you tell stories interactively. If you go back and read those books, they are nonsensical, and and famous for it. Like, you know, the idea that you turn to page 34 and you're eaten by a Yeti, like, that's part of how we culturally understand those books now. But that's a feature of this sort of style of design that is built around what you are doing as a player, exercising agency within the game, is less about strategy and more about variety, right? More about sort of like you choosing one of two paths makes you feel like, and makes you aware of the reality that there are different stories that could be told in this space, and you are only telling one of them, or you are only receiving one of them, and that one story is interesting, has ups and downs and unexpected twists, and those unexpected twists sort of like mean that you can't really, with any degree of accuracy, predict how your choices are going to affect the story. But you do know that you are making choices that sort of make this story real in a very interesting way. And this is not just like a primitive thing. This continues in a lot of games, and a lot of interactive narrative games sort of continue this tradition. And a lot of games that I like we're 10 years out from Cute Night, right? Is it Long Live the Queen, I think, is another game that's sort of from Hanako Games in that sort of genre. And visual novels. Visual novels are actually a great example of this, right? Visual novels do this all the time. In some dating sim visual novels, you can make really sort of directed choices towards a particular character that you want to flirt with, or you want to develop a relationship with, and sometimes that works. But there are a lot of visual novels, especially if they're not like harem dating sims, where you make choices, and sometimes you make choices infrequently, and those choices result in a lot of narrative happening. Like, a lot of stuff happens then between when you make that choice and when you make your next choice. And the course of that narrative is not necessarily like directly or obviously related back to the choice that you as a player made. You have just sort of like chosen a different stream of narrative. The other way to think about interactive narrative and branching narrative is that as a player, I am playing with a specific goal in mind. And there are multiple different endings that this game could have, and one of them is the ending that I want. Either because it's the best ending, like the true ending, or because I want certain things out of the story, right? Like, I might say, I want this to be a story where the protagonist finds love and gets married. Or I want this to be a story where they become wealthy and successful. And maybe those don't both happen, and I can choose which one I care about and sort of aim in that direction. But I have a sense every time that I make a choice that I am moving the story in a direction towards or away from one of those possible endings. And so the way that the story accomplishes that is it gives me as a player a sense of what are the possible endings? Where could you be directing this towards? And how are your individual choices going to affect that? And I end up playing in a more strategic manner. I end up playing sort of around, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Without knowing what all of the possibilities are, I can still move towards something specific and concrete. This game, I think, is more... I mean, this is a spectrum, right? Like, this isn't a... you do one or you do the other. But this game has more of a sensibility towards the idea of a story is going to happen. and there are lots of stories that could happen, and you're going to make decisions that will cause a specific story to get sort of pulled out and told from all of those possibilities. And when you go back and you play this game again and you make different decisions, a different story is going to be told. And part of the joy of that, we talked about last week, is wanting to explore that story space, to want to go back and play it again and see what were the different possibilities. And the game can still feel like it has agency by saying the things that happen, here's how they relate back to the decisions that you made, but they're not predictable. You can't sort of look forward and say, by making this decision, here's what I'm making happen. I'm in the situation where I want to get scrap material, right? I have 10 cities, 8 cities that I can go to. I can't go to all of them. I have to choose which ones I'm going to go to. I have no idea which one is going to have scrap material. Any of them could have scrap material. I don't think that I will necessarily know when I go to a city that has scrap material that it has scrap material, unless I have the right conversation with the right person and it goes the right way. So the sort of like, do I want to get scrap material for my friend and bring it back home in order to reconstruct our town and our relationship? Or do I want to do one of the other things that I could be doing on this trip? I don't really get to make that choice, right? I don't know enough about how the story is going to go, what the possibility space is, to be able to say, well, I could go get the scrap material, or here's an alternative. I'm either going to find it or I'm not, because I don't know where it is. If I played again, I could do something different, and maybe I would find the scrap material because I've eliminated some of the possibilities of stories that could be told. And so the joy of the game is sort of figuring out, like, what are all of the things that could have happened. This game has more of that sensibility than I do as a person, as a player, right? And so I rub up against that in a frustrating way sometimes, where I want to be able to plan. I want to be able to have a strategy. I want to be able to see what my end goal is and sort of make moves towards it. And if I choose bad cards, or I play them badly and I have bad conversations and that causes me to fail in my goals, then that's on me, right? Like, I could have played the game better, but the choices that I'm making are moving me, or have the intention, I guess, have the direction of moving me in towards the goal that I want to accomplish. This game is less interested in that sort of like strategizing and planning and thinking about what is it that you want to accomplish and how are you going to achieve it, and more interested in what section of the possibility space are you going to carve off for yourself, right? What story are you going to discover? Excuse me. What story are you going to discover as you play the game this time? And I think that carries into other elements of the game, like this sort of framing device of you are on a caravan and you're taking these trips and they take time, and that affects sort of like what possibilities lay in front of you. That framing device, I think, is an interesting one narratively to this game, that you are taking a certain number of trips and you are visiting certain places, and importantly, like, by visiting one place, by sort of choosing one branch of the story, you are closing off other different possibilities. But I think the game is not interested in that framing device suggests a level of planning and strategy and sort of like goal-orientedness that the game really isn't about. Like, that's not what the game cares about. The game cares about telling you an interesting story out of the choices that you make. And it doesn't want you to get sort of so hung up on why are you making those choices. That's not what the game cares about. And I think that that's why I say that, like, that's not what the game is interested in. I think the game wants me to be more relaxed, maybe, than I am. And there was some chat in, there was some talk in chat about how different people have very different reactions to this game. I clearly find this game very stressful, very difficult to, like, think about, even as I enjoy playing it. Other people I have talked to have had the reaction that this is just super chill. This is a very relaxing game. And I think that that's because you can approach this in a way where you don't stress out about every decision, right? You, here's some people, this person looks interesting to talk to, I'll talk to them. Does that conversation go well? Does it not? Doesn't really matter. I'll take a card. You know, I do feel like I'm trying to win more conversations than I'm trying to lose, and so there's some, like, strategic decision making around that. But, like, what is gonna happen? I don't know. I don't have that much control over it. We'll just go with the flow. I think the game wants and expects that is how you are going to engage with it, that you don't stress out too much about every little decision. And it's hard for me to approach it that way. Like, that's not the type of player that I am, right? And I think that that's true for a lot of people. And I think it's to this game's credit that I enjoy it. It is still fun, even though I'm having so much trouble meeting it on its level, meeting it where it is. I think that's because it's a really good game, and it is able to still be really engaging. But I do think that, like, you know, this is a game that is maybe made for a section of the audience that finds it appealing, like, that looks at the trailer and says, oh, that seems cool. Some of those people might actually not click with the game, and some of them will. And I think it's around that sort of, like, can you be a little bit laid back about this? Can you accept that a story is just going to happen, and you don't have that much control over it? Rad, everybody. I'm looking at the chat. So Moira says, how do you think this would change the experience if conversations didn't have an explicit overall success-failure outcome? So maybe the cards you play affect events going forward, but in a less binary or more hidden way. Would that make it better? That's not the thing that occurs to me as being sort of the most efficacious, or that is most enforcing this. Because the conversations are already not entirely binary. From the last conversation that I had, now I forget who I was just talking to, but the refugee that I was just talking to, I got through 2 successes with him. I didn't get through all 3, so the whole conversation was a failure. But in those two successes, he said things to me as part of that success that gave me new information about the world and added something to my map. And potentially, you know, that could be something useful. I think in this case, it's not useful to me, but, you know, there is a degree of a little bit of success actually can yield a little bit of benefit. Even if you don't get a full success. So I think they're not actually entirely binary conversations. There's an emotional toll to, like, trying to have a conversation with someone and having it fail, that I think is really interesting in the game, but is not, like, that isn't that doesn't provide a strong incentive. The thing that provides the strong incentive is the experience system, and the fact that if I talk to somebody who doesn't speak the same, who doesn't have the same vocabulary as me, it's actually going to make it harder for me to talk to the people that I am trying to talk to. That provides the sort of like disincentive to me to actually talk to people, which I guess wasn't your question. Your question was about, well, no, okay, so that is your question was, would it change the experience if conversations didn't have an explicit overall success failure outcome? I think that they don't. I think the thing that would change the experience of conversations the most is taking away that experience system. Specifically not making it a requirement. Like, I can have a conversation with someone and not have it change me. But I think that's the point of the game, right? That experience of you cannot have a conversation with someone without having it change you is what this game is about. And so I think that's really important, even though, like, I might find it less stressful in the moment if the game was more forgiving about that. Rad. Yeah, I mean, good. Thanks, chat. These are good. I like having these discussions. I love sort of like digging into these points. So, let's keep going.